Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Axel jam si Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.
It's Tuesday, the 10th of June, 2025, and live on West Coast Radio, it's coffee time with Peter Gomez. Our time in the Gambia is 13 minutes past 8 o'clock in the morning. In France, it's 13 minutes past 10 o'clock in the morning. Now, ahead of the upcoming 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, the Gambia's permanent representative to the United Nations in New York, Lamin Dibba, was elected chairman of the Bureau of the Economic and Financial Committee. Also known as the Second Committee, Dibba's bureau has a wide brief. Mr. Dibba is currently in France representing the Gambia at a UN conference on how to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. I'm glad to say that we have Ambassador Dibba on the program. Good morning and welcome to Coffee Time, Ambassador Dibba.
Good morning, Peter, and thank you for having me.
Oh, wow. I mean, I want to begin by complaining. This is a friend who actually abandoned me. But thank God, at least I have you on the phone this morning. Congratulations. What does this appointment mean, first for you and, of course, for the Gambia in general?
Well, thank you very much, Peter. I think this is very, very important for me as a person. I feel very privileged and honored to be elected among 193 member states to chair this very important committee that has a very broad mandate in terms of sustainable development, economic issues, and environmental issues. But for the Gambia, it is very important because this shows that the Gambia is playing its role on the multilateral stage to ensure that developing countries, including our special circumstance countries like LDCs and LLDCs and states, our interests are also on the platform and ensure that we achieve our target goals within this committee. And this brings a lot of recognition for the Gambia, but also visibility and relevance for the Gambia on the international development platform.
Tell us more about, what the Second Committee, as it's also known. Tell us more about the mandate. What do you do?
Yeah, this committee is one of the committees of the six. UN has 6 committees that looks into various aspects of United Nations work. But this particular committee is mandated by the General Assembly to look into macroeconomic policies and financial matters, particularly for developing countries, and also looking at the poverty eradication, sustainable development goals. As you know, right now we are also preparing as an outcome of this committee, which was thoroughly negotiated, that is the Financing for Development 4 conference that is going to take place in Seville in Spain just by the end of this month. And we're going to look at modalities of how do we sustainably fund a development agenda of the United Nations member states, with particular focus on, as I said, countries in vulnerable situations like LDCs, the least developed countries, LLDCs, landlocked developing states, countries, and seeds. These are countries with special circumstances that we need to look at. How do we ensure that we support the cause of these countries, but also to have global framework that is fair enough. For instance, let me give you an example. 2 years ago, the Gambia was one of the countries that led the negotiation for the international tax system. That is to ensure that we have a fair tax system globally that will help developing countries to have their fair share of the international business environment. Peter, don't forget that this committee is also mandated to look into investment and development. So looking at investment and looking at the nature of multinational corporations operating in different countries, different parts of the world, we deem it important and necessary that developing countries should benefit from those international financial system by having the fair share of having a tax framework that will ensure that multinational companies pay their dues to these countries, but also contribute to their development. But also this committee also look into, like I said, the follow-up to the FFD negotiation that Gambia was also part of and took lead in those negotiations. And we're also looking at the 2030 agenda. You all know that the 2030 agenda is coming to an end by 2030. But looking at the pace of achievement and the implementation of the 2030 agenda, we have serious concern that only 17% of the SDG goals have been achieved, and the remaining 73%, we need to, as in the words of His Excellency the Secretary General, we need to turbocharge the implementation of this 2030 agenda for us to achieve our objective. But more importantly, Peter, this is something very dear to me. This committee to look at environment, biological diversity, and climate change. And this is also another very important agenda for this committee that we're looking at. You also remember that this the General Assembly in 2023, sorry, we have passed a resolution that we're going to seek the opinion of the International Court of Justice to kind of express their opinion on climate change, particularly focusing on common but differentiated responsibilities. Because countries, we have common problem of climate change, but how do it affects different parts of the world? As I said, seeds, these are small island developing states. They'll tell you we are more vulnerable to sea level rise. As we in the Gambia, we are also very much vulnerable to sea level rise and the attendant consequences of sea level rise on our social, economic, and cultural assets of our country. So this is why Gambia took very keen interest in this committee to see that developing countries' views and positions are also reflected in this committee work.
So it's a very busy committee. I see that you also even, are expected to have an input in the agenda and program of work of the General Assembly, for instance, by engaging in updating its working methods and practices. What can you tell us about this aspect?
Yeah, this is very important because the working method is crucial to the achievement of the General Assembly. As I said, we have several processes that feed into the General Assembly agenda that works with the President of the General Assembly. And for your information, Peter, Germany is elected, the former foreign minister of Germany was elected last week as the President of the General Assembly. So we'll be working with the President of the General Assembly to contribute to the working methods of the General Assembly, but as well as how to improve the working methods of the United Nations as in general.
We wish you good luck as you chair this very important committee of the upcoming 80th session of the UN General Assembly, Ambassador Dibba. As I said at the beginning, yes?
Let me hasten to add that I think it is important that Gambian people understand that Gambia, though small, but we are very much respected when it comes to multilateral engagements. One of the issues that I just want to bring to your attention is that last year, November to be exact, the Gambia and Mexico led a process leading to a resolution that will ensure that crimes against humanity is punishable under international law. So Gambia is one of those countries that is very much recognized for its role in progressive development of international law, and this has been widely acclaimed as a success for Gambia and Mexico to lead this process. And secondly, year before last, I was also appointed by the Secretary General to serve on the Governing Council of the UN Technology Bank, which is responsible for deepening technological cooperation between developed countries and developing countries, with particular focus on LDCs. So this is also a very important portfolio that the Gambia is also holding at the UN General Assembly, and also, as I said, the tax negotiation, the FFD negotiation. So that shows that the Gambia is really playing its role on the international platform. So it is important that, and also I just want to inform you that the Gambia will also be chairing the African group because we do negotiation through groups. We have the G77 group, we have the African group, we have the AOSIS, we have so many other groups that we do negotiations through. And the Gambia will be chairing the African group in July. So this is another important milestone development for the Gambia.
Fantastic. Congratulations once again. Now, in terms of issues relating to groups of countries in special situations... Can you hear me?
Yes, I...
Okay.
Yes,
I was saying, in terms of issues relating to groups of countries in special situations, the Gambia, of course, currently chairs the OIC. What about the issue of permanent sovereignty of the people of Palestine, the Palestinian people?
Well, this is I think this is a matter of sovereign national decisions, and the Gambia's principal position on the issue is very clear, that we are advocating for the people of Palestine to be recognized as people with all their sovereign rights and responsibilities at the United Nations. And just to inform you, by next week, there is a high-level meeting on the question of Palestine, which the Gambia will be participating at the level of foreign minister, and then we will express our views on the matter. Okay.
Well, you're speaking to me from the city of Nice in France, where you are attending the UN Ocean Conference. How important is this conference to the Gambia especially?
Well, Peter, thank you very much. As you said, we are talking to you from the beautiful coastal city of Nice in France. And this is where the French government and Costa Rica co-hosted this Ozone Conference 3. That is to ensure that we put in place political declarations that will help to guide the process of conserving our marine ecosystem, to ensure that our coastal communities are protected, the ozone is protected. And Peter, don't forget that the health of any marine ecosystem determines the health of the population. And as such, this conference is very important for the Gambia, knowing the fact that the Gambia has almost 80 kilometers of coastline where you have coastal communities, and Gambia is also very vulnerable to sea level rise. And as I always said, the indications and the climate modeling are very, very clear as to what will happen to the Gambia when we have sea level rise. So warming temperatures, greenhouse gases emission, all these are interwoven issues that are discussed along, and also to see how best to reduce greenhouse gas emission. And also don't forget that the ozone is one of the most efficient absorber of carbon dioxide, which is also very important. But with certain pollutants, the ability to do those will be significantly reduced, because it increases when you have organic matters into the sea, it increases its biological oxygen demand. That will obviously exclude the absorption of carbon dioxide. So it's important that we have these measures in place to ensure that we have a pollution-free ozones that will help to support the lives and the livelihood of coastal communities. Of course, for the Gambia, you know that our economic and cultural assets are at risk. If we have sea level rise even 1 meter, our capital city is at risk. The only referral hospital in Banjul, the ports, all these are economic and social assets. Our road infrastructure, they are all at risk. So this conference is very important for the Gambia. And the Minister of Fisheries is here with me, who would be delivering the national statement on behalf of His Excellency, the President, to communicate the position of the Gambia on ozone and ozone management in the Gambia.
I'm surprised you singled out only the hospital and the Gambia Ports Authority. What about State House? Is it not at risk if the sea level were to rise?
That's why I said the entire capital city. It will be inundated. It does not exclude the State House, of course.
Just want to give them, some shivers down their spine at State House. So you just mentioned that the Minister of Fisheries is there, I suppose, leading the Gambian delegation to this conference. When does he address the conference?
Maybe in the next 1 or 2 hours, he will be addressing the conference.
Okay, fantastic. And what is the Gambia seeking to get out of this conference? What's the benefit it's expecting to get out of this conference? More money, and if he has money, to do what with?
In the national statement, Gambia is advocating for kind of a basket fund that will help to support vulnerable countries, particularly least developed countries, to be able to better manage their marine ecosystems, and also linking this to other existing frameworks like the Abidjan Convention, which was set up to ensure that the Atlantic ozone from Southern Africa right through to the Caribbean Sea is protected. And all these are issues that we are going to highlight to see that the Gambia's position is well communicated to the international community when it comes to our ecosystem management of the ozone.
Fantastic. Ambassador Dibba, thank you very much for your time this morning. We'll let you now go off and prepare for the next round of meetings.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you for having me.
That's Ambassador Lamin B. Dibba, one of the political appointees as ambassador, it has to be said, by President Barrow, for which actually he was somehow indirectly attacked recently, of course, but that's a story that is now way behind us.
Jar Oil, the company, have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jam, Suede.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de dik. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello? Ano lay waxal?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills, and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.